It finally happened, guys. I'm not even going to start with the Rockstars here. Mythic Games is gone. Gone. This isn't some, metaphor. This isn't some exaggeration. This isn't something blowing out of the water. They're piecing out, going into liquidation, gone. Any games you got, gone. Any games you paid for, gone. All of it gone. We're going to dive into this a little bit, both in how it's being covered and how it's being handled, what you guys are saying, and what my opinion is on all that right now. Alright, so there are some cool campaigns out right now on the crowdfunding space that I wanted to show you guys. This is actually why I sat down to film, but today, as time of filming, this news just dropped. I wanted to get this to you guys so you guys were aware, so we can just kind of finally lay this thing to rest, whether it's whether we're happy about it or not. It is what it is. But that also meant I didn't want to then go show like, hey, look at these other crowdfunding games you could spend money. It just doesn't seem very tactful. So I was trying to think of how can I make at least some sort of positive in this video. And you know what? I'm wearing it. Into the AM sponsors today's video. Into the AM is a fantastic company. They make fantastic, wonderful product. This is one of their fall line hoodies I've been wearing today. Completely awesome. I love how long it is, by the way. I mean, look at this. Like, it feels great to wear. It's super warm, super comfy, looks great all the time. And they actually have a new fall drop too that just dropped on their website. I'll show you in a moment. But I did want to let you know you can save 10% on top of any sales, on top of all of their already good prices for the quality that you're getting. It's amazing, and they're a good company that delivers. Oh my gosh. Anyway, there's a link down in the description below to that. You can use my code. And you can use that code anytime, by the way. Save 10% again on top of any sales. This is a straight flat fee. You're not going to get that message saying it's not valid. Nope, 10% plus on anything else that they're doing right now. Take a look at this. Their Fall Drop 2 has some great stuff. They're really continuing this. They have the flannel. They have a new bomber jacket here. They have the long sleeve hoodie. They have this Sierra shirt jacket, which looks really good. Looks like that'll keep you nice and warm. I just moved to a colder part of the state of Idaho here, and I'm looking forward to staying warm. Of course, they have their amazing graphic shirts. They have their wonderful pants. They have it all, right? So they're always going with this. You got some great packs, got the t-shirt club, got everything you need to look your best, to be comfy, and to be happy with what you're wearing. You'll get compliments, I promise. But seriously, great company, and that's really what I wanted to highlight here. They've been sponsoring this channel for a while because of the kind of attitude I bring to this and what I talk about. They aligned with that early on, before they even got into a whole lot of board gamers and stuff. And that is just because that's the kind of company they're doing. The Into the AM stands for working into the AM, hustling, doing the work you need to do to get your stuff done. Something Mythic Games didn't do. So we're going to stop here with the sponsor drop here, but seriously, check out the link below. Help support them. They're a great company. Do yourself a favor and support the channel all at the same time. And with that, let's go ahead and dive into the crazy news here. Honestly, this is something that I feel everybody was looking forward to in some way, shape, or form. Either they were looking forward to it as in they knew it was coming, or looking forward to it in that they were just happy that it's done. Let's go and jump in. So they have this right here. Right, this, I don't even know what site this is. It's some kind of legal thing. I went ahead and translated this on Google Chrome. I'm using Opera GX right now so that my computer doesn't explode from the many tabs that I always show you guys. I'm showing you cool campaigns all the time. And do subscribe for that. I will be showing more. I promise there are great games and great companies still out there. And I'll show them to you gladly. There's some cool campaigns right now. But for now, we're going to do this. I haven't added an add-on. I don't think there's a real translate option here for me. But it's translated later as well. So we'll jump into that. Actually, let's go ahead and go to that translation right now. Now, I've highlighted a few things. We'll go over what you guys are saying in a moment. But it says here, under the minutes of the extraordinary, and this is correct. I saw this in the Google Translate as well. Journal meeting dated October 1st, 2024. The partners of the company Mythic Games France Sarl with a capital of €2,000, which is kind of a requirement to kind of set aside. You can assign less, but then you're like required to pay the 2,000. So this is like a minimum thing. They always announce it with these companies. I'm not sure why. Her registered office is located at the address there. There's their registry. Has decided on the early dissolution of the company as of the same day and its liquidation, and appointed as liquidator Mr. Pascal Leonidas Vesperini, resident at, and then it shows that, previously manager of the company, with the broadest powers to carry out the liquidation operations and achieve its closure. The headquarters of the liquidation has been set to, whatever address to which all correspondence must be sent, and acts and documents relating to the liquidation must be notified. The filing of acts and documents relating to the liquidation will be made at the RCS Paris for notice. Okay, so that's kind of what this is saying right here. This is kind of a, hey, here's all this public information, just let you know, liquidation, right? In fact, Frontline Gaming here also covered it, and I'm going to talk a little bit about how this is covered, but just a little bit. As you can see, posted, this is day of recording, it's October 14th right now. By the time you're seeing this, it's October the 15th, unless you saw it late, in which case subscribe so you can stay up to date on this kind of stuff, because this kind of stuff's important, and it's not covered very well otherwise. There's not a lot of places to go, and so I try to keep you guys updated on all the information, of course, because at the end of the day, this costs us a lot of money. I have a question for you in a moment about that. It should be pretty good. All right, so this article here says controversial board game company Mythic Games dissolves, right? And it's talking about that, and it's saying all their other issues they had. Now, before I do that, one thing, this is, again, I'm not perfect when it comes to this. I am definitely not very good at the whole journalism thing. I do my best to give you guys the information I can, while also not pretending to not have any bias. Instead, give you just my opinion on a lot of things as well. But I do try to link. So there is a link down in the description below to kind of everything I'm showing here, just so you can follow through, do your own research, of course, look up more information, whatever you want to do. There's no links here, and it would have been nice to have a link here, at least of, hey, here's the reporting here. But that's fine. I'm not going to hold it against this company per se. Now, they have significant delays in delivery, poor communication, unmet stretch goals and missing content, financial difficulties in project management, Time of Legends Joan of Arc lawsuit, shipping cost controversy, and quality control issues. Now, that's what they list as, here's the major issues for Mythic Games. What I have a question for you here is, did they miss anything? And if so, what would you say that is? What if you were to list a number 8 here? What would it be? What other issues were there? Because there were dozens and dozens that we could really get into. Now, I know they're kind of doing high level here. So really, I would say a number 8 here is the cost that it was total, right? Because we were paying for other campaigns and to continually run the company. And even then, where all the money went is still kind of questionable. They obviously had some kind of crazy debts or some other stuff going on. It was a nasty business situation. And the actual cost of the shipping wasn't that much, really. And in fact, it wasn't even that company. Many companies had issue with the shipping, with the increased cost, depending on where they were in the contracts and how much they could absorb, and a whole host of other things. How big their games were obviously affected a lot. There was that kind of stuff too. But that wasn't really that big of an issue, especially not for Mythic Games themselves. Instead, the amount, the cost of it, and how they handled getting it was, right? That was kind of the issue, right? Plus, then a whole host of others. So I would love to know what else you would add to this. I'm sure there are more. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump into Darkest Dungeon here. As you can see, I'm a backer. And actually, another question for you. I'll ask at the end, because you may not even remember everything here. Okay, so we'll go over it at the end. The bummer here, no update on Darkest Dungeon, which everybody was still waiting for Wave 2, which they did charge for more shipping and still did not deliver, even after saying, hey, here's how much we need, accepting all the money and then not doing it. And that's really where I'm going to get to my opinion. But let's dive into your guys' opinion first, and then I'll say mine and ask that question, because I think it's worth asking. So this is Reddit, and as you know, the opinions of Reddit are law. This reflects everybody's opinion holistically and completely. And so, no, I'm kidding. Obviously, let me know your thoughts below in the comments, of course, so that if nothing else, it's food for thought for me. I'm able to sync up with you guys on where you're at on this emotional roller coaster journey that we've all been through. And I might even be able to address them in the future. I don't know. Okay, so this is actually Patrick Letter from Letter Games saying, wait, so I could buy the Darkest Dungeon part of the company? Liquidation means they're like selling off everything they can to then pay their the people that they owe money to, which is not you and me, by the way. Us backers aren't owed anything. Part of the company and finally complete my game. Now this was kind of a joke. He's sick. Hopefully, Mr. Letter, you're feeling better. I really hope that you are. Being sick is crummy, especially if you have a fever. Okay, there's the translation here. So this is a fun one. It's the ransoming your customer's business strategy didn't work. Shame. So that was really the big issue with Mythic Games at the end of the day, right? It was first the running the campaigns to pay for previous campaigns and assuming that this cash flow is what's going to pay for it instead of actually having funds to deliver your games, right? That was problem number one. What I would say is the root cause of that, and what goes to this though, is the communication. I'm going to word this carefully because I don't want to make necessarily super strong of a claim, because at the end of the day, I don't think it's going to matter, sadly. I wish it did, but it doesn't. But I will talk about this more, about responsibility. But essentially, overly optimistic, where they continually communicated in a way that assumed things were good, when in fact there was a high chance that they weren't going to be good. This goes from launching the campaign, which every company does, right? They could be in the pooper, but they're going to launch another campaign to try and like raise funds to pay off the old one. And they're never going to tell you that, right? They're going to be like, everything's great because they want to raise as much money. And then, okay, good. We got by without anybody noticing is what they're hoping, right? And that's what Mythic Games is kind of doing too. They were just like, it's going to be great. It's going to be fine. The next campaign's going to be wonderful. And it's going to make all this money. It's going to help pay for everything. And we're totally clear. We don't have to tell you guys that at all, because then nobody will back it, right? If you tell them, hey, by the way, like, we're in danger, nobody's going to back your game. So you're like, everything's great. And everybody backs the game, hopefully, is the idea. That communication style continued into asking for more funds for shipping. Hence the Darkest Dungeon Wave 1 and Wave 2, but we're going to say that your payment for Wave 1 includes Wave 2 payment so that they get those extra funds or whatever and they'd be fine. Which, of course, then it wasn't, and they still had to charge more for Wave 2. And then so then you paid that, and then still it wasn't enough, and now they liquidate, and they didn't send you the Wave 2. So this constant like, everything's great, pay us this and we'll give you that, kind of fibbing, more or less, so that overly optimistic, overly simplified, not fully telling you the situation at hand, only the positive, none of the negative, is the underlying issue of the whole thing. The ransoming your customers, that's really what that is saying, hey, we have this product because that's what Wave 1 Darkest Dungeon was, but we can't ship it to you unless you pay us. So we have the product, but we won't ship it unless you pay us. That was that ransom word that's used there. I have to go back in time because I've been covering this for you guys for years now. Years. It's been so long that you might not even remember. Yeah, back when Darkest Dungeon Wave 1 was there, it was all produced and they just had to ship it. And that's where that ransom came in. Here's another one here. Maybe they can keep the company open if we send them more money. This is obviously a joke as well that I think is quite humorous. Essentially, I said, even me, early on, hey, the reason it's so much is because it's not just shipping. We're keeping the company afloat, right? We pay money, the company keeps going. They have no money. They've spent it all. They've squandered it all. And then like an idiot, I kept giving them money because I wanted my game. Now, I ended up getting Six Siege. I ended up getting the first wave of Darkest Dungeon, the two things that they sent, but I paid for all those other campaigns I didn't get. I paid for the Darkest Dungeon Wave 2 that I was never sent, right? I'm there with you guys. And that's just it. They kept saying like, hey, just give us some more money and we'll make it work. And yep, even that didn't end up being the case here. Really, really sad to see. Really sad to see. Question for you. How much money did you just lose? You're not going to get those games, right? Now, they've sold some IP. Nobody's announced anything about sending you anything. There are obviously going to be a lot of changes. And honestly, and Letter Games mentioned this. So if I go up here again, Letter Games even Patrick Letter said this as well, that like, you're not going to recoup your costs, right? Like there's no way that you buying that, if you have to send it off to all these people for like free or whatever, it's not going to work. So maybe you'll get some form of it, but honestly, for the most part, probably not. So assuming this is a loss, assuming we don't get anything, again, they don't owe you anything, they're going to pay all their debtors first, they have no money, they've already sold off half of their IP, they've just been squandering money since the day they launched their company, it seems, and it's only just now caught up to them. So we're out. How much did you pay for that you didn't get? I would love to know the costs there, because I haven't totaled mine yet, and honestly, I'm not sure I will. Let me know if you're not going to. I don't know if it's what that'll do for my mental health, right? Like totaling all that up. I know it's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars, and it's unfortunate. But if you do know the number, I would love to hear what that number is so that we can see the true impact of that, of that direct cost to you, right? Now, obviously, there's the lost potential of what you could have put that money towards. There's the lost funding for other legitimate companies that are trying to launch their campaigns and their games, and they're not able to because they're not able to fund because you're not funding anything anymore because you lost all this money in Mythic Games. So there's all sorts of repercussions there. But just like raw dollar amount, do that. And then I'd be curious, go through the comments and start totaling that up. How much money can you count just on this single video, just the people willing to give you that information, and know that it's so much more? Now, you might be asking the same thing I'm asking. Where'd all the money go? How do you spend all of that money? Now, I'm not saying Leo and the other owners and anybody involved in upper management or anything like that is like living large and like has a great life right now. I'm not saying that. I don't believe that's true, which is almost even more unfortunate. When I'm saying, how do you even do all that? I don't mean because you buy yachts and Bugattis, right? What I mean is, how do you even do all that and then not have anything to show for it? How do you not have those yachts and Bugattis? Right? Like, that would explain it. Right? Like, that would be like, oh, well, there you go. You're bad at spending, right? In fact, way back when, I think it was it Ninja Games or something like that? I'm thinking out loud here, so that's not a claim here, but there was like a company that got in trouble because the person like launched the campaign and then like used it to like buy like fancy stuff, right? Like, it didn't deliver. That happened really early on in the crowdfunding space. That I believe they got sued and all that other stuff. But I'm not saying that's the case here, and that's kind of what's crazy. Where did all the money go? The millions and millions and millions of dollars that you funded, where did it go? What do we have to show for it? We don't have the product. Where is it? How do you squander that much money? It's impressive how bad that is. Really, really is. And it's really frustrating. We all have our faults. I have my faults. You have your faults. None of us are perfect. We all make mistakes. The important thing to realize, and one of the reasons I asked you guys to tally up the number, is to really put a point on how much money you're taking from people. This is not, they're out $5. This is not, they purchased tickets and weren't able to go. These campaigns, these games that Mythic Games, specifically these kind of companies, these kind of campaign games, crowdfunding campaign games, were huge, were massive, were big dollar amounts, huge amount. It's part of what caused them issues, right? Massive games. You spend hundreds and hundreds and hundreds on. And then when you do it multiple times over, you have to realize how much outstanding you have, how much debt you owe your backers, how much of a loan they've given you interest-free, right? How much they've sacrificed for you. And you don't just continue doing that. You don't just not let them know about the risks. It amazes me that you don't have to be more thorough. You don't have to be more honest, that you can spin it good. I don't know how many campaigns I've covered where I've had to be the one to tell you, by the way, they had this other campaign that failed. Or the last 2 campaigns or 3 campaigns have failed. So FYI, I'm not so sure about this one. Or, hey, they really botched this last one. They didn't even deliver everything. People are so upset now they're launching this one. And nowhere on the campaign page is that said. Nowhere is GameFound requiring you to say that. Nowhere is Kickstarter requiring you to say that. Nowhere is that to be seen. Instead, it's just people in the comments, me, a few others, trying to get the word out on some of this stuff. And that's just what we can capture. This is what we can gather. Because there's no systematic way to really hold them accountable. And that it's just wild to me that that's the case. It is. If I did this at my job, I'd be fired the first time I did it. If I knew that there was a problem and I go to my boss who's, paying me to work and is like, oh, hey, by the way, I didn't tell you this and now it happened. And I purposely didn't tell you that because then I was worried you would say no. I'm being kicked out the door. That's how that works in real life for real people. But these are companies, right? And companies follow a different set of laws. Companies don't have to follow the rules you and I do. They're companies, right? They just liquidate and then move on. Leo's moved on. Management's moved on. The company is no more. They're selling what they can, paying other companies, again, companies, not people, stuff that they owe. Again, not what the people owe, just the companies owe. It's the way of the world. You guys know this. I don't make up the rules. I didn't make up the laws around any of this, but that's how it works. Companies first, people last. Shoot, that could probably be like my motto for this channel. With a sad face at the end. That's the problem, right? Companies first, people last. We dehumanize. We focus on everything else but the person. The person out all that money. The person that just commented. You that just commented. Putting that money on. You're last in the list of who to get money from this liquidation. Literally how it works. Go through a long list, and at the very bottom, people. Kind of sucks. Not gonna lie. But everything's connected. And so the people getting screwed over at this level screws over the companies too. Screws over any company that's still over there on any kind of crowdfunding space trying to sell a board game. Or crowdfunding in general. Times are tough. It's tough on people. It's tough on companies. I'm not denying that. But at the end of the day, when you need to be extra vigilant when you have somebody else's money, nonetheless a ton of people's money and a ton of money, extra vigilant, you should hold yourself to a higher standard. We don't. In fact, it's lower standards than what I would have to do as a person employed at a job. Unfortunate. Honestly, there's nothing good about this except the fact that it's over. You don't have to... even then... So again, I want to say it's over, but they sold their IP to other companies, so I'm like, come on, own some, and there's just all these companies then bought some of this IP, and they're gonna make other campaigns, and it's gonna get brought up again, and all the negative feelings are gonna get brought up again. And honestly, if I was a company, I would not have bought any of their IP. It's just a net negative, unless you're like a super millionaire that can give it to everybody. It's not going to be a good experience. People are going to be upset. People are going to hate on it, and you're going to get negative comments. Almost guaranteed, no matter what. It's a lose-lose, in my opinion. I'm actually surprised anybody did. It is such a this has been festering for so long. If they'd just gone by the dodo, it would have been bad. If the moment they had a problem, if they didn't ask for anything, first of all, we wouldn't have gotten Six Siege or Darkest Dungeon Wave 1. So I'm not saying it's necessarily a bad thing overall. But for the emotional impact of it, it is. Because it just prolonged it as long as it has. And it's going to continue now that the IP is going to continue. Yeah, I don't know. Let me know your thoughts. I'd love to hear your opinion on this. Because mine is overall pretty negative. I'm glad the majority of it's over. But at the same time... I'll be having to do another one of these videos. Some other company's going to come and try and make something of this great IP and great games. And Mythic Games did some really good work. And that's also what's unfortunate about all this. Is they did really good stuff. I don't know. Will we ever move on? Maybe not in this economy. I don't know. All right, guys. Look, that's a lot of bad company there. But again, Into the AM, great company. They make shirts, sweatshirts, fall decor, fall apparel, stuff like that. Check them out on the link down in the description below. Save yourself 10%. Support a great company. You will get your product and you'll love your product. It'll be like a normal situation where it'll bring some happiness and joy into your life, I promise. And you help support the channel as well, which I am internally grateful for. Guys, next up is a news video, an unboxing, a review. I got a whole bunch going on. Got several prototypes coming. Got a review to film. Got a new unboxing for a game that's coming out here soon. And of course, there's some great campaigns out right now I want to show you, and some coming up. So all that great stuff coming up now that we've got this ickiness out of the way. Guys, thank you so much. Have a great rest of your day. Take care. Bye, guys.